No, this isn't a running event, Max. It's a all-day theater marathon.
I'm Barnes Jefferson, and I help women over 40 to break free of the rules and doubts that have kept them stuck so they can finally feel fit, comfortable, and confident in their bodies, no matter the shape or the size. So tonight I wanted to talk about rebirth. And here in New England, we've had a pretty tough spring. And it's been raining, and that old saying, April showers bring May flowers. Well, we've had some April and May rain, and like now the flowers are blooming, and it's taken that time to kind of rebirth the summer. And I know that most of us, on January 1st, we think that's the rebirth. Like we think of like, oh my God, starting kind of like the end of December, we're all like, hey, in the next year, it's going to be my year. I'm going to be the biggest, the best, the awesomest, the whateverist person on the planet. And then March comes around. Then April comes around. And then, should I try? Should I even bother? Is it worth it? So here is where I say we all get a chance to press the reboot. And probably the last several years, I've started this whole thing of like, June is the new January. Because if you think about it, we're 6 months into the year. So there's still plenty of time to get stuff done. There's still plenty of time for you to look back at what you said on January 1st, like when you had all that vim and vigor, to say, you know what? I got this. I could do it. And so tonight I want to talk about like how do you press the reboot button and not feel like this big old failure? How do you press the reboot button and bite off things you can chew? One of the biggest things I see all the time is that we all underestimate how long something is going to take. In your head, you're like, oh, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. It's really going to take me like 30 days. Yeah, I'm going to lose a pound a day. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And logically, we know that ain't the case. But emotionally, we're like, I want these 30 pounds gone. And I want them gone right freaking now. And I'm the same way. Like I have the patience of a gnat. And I always, tell my clients, I'm like, hey, I'm telling you this right now, that you're going to have to pack your patience. And I know that is hard. Like, that's harder than climbing Everest. And I know what that feeling is like because I have zero patience. You decide what you want and you want it tomorrow. You might wait till the end of the week, but come on. I'm sure you've heard me say this before. Our bodies and fitness aren't like Amazon Prime. I love me some Amazon Prime, but it has spoiled us because we think that, if I order something on Monday, by Friday, it's going to be on my doorstep. And that's not the case. And it's really challenging for you to just put out the faith, put out belief that you've decided that, I want to get healthier. I want to get fitter. And I have to decide that I'm willing to wait for it. And, the best way I could describe it's like, we all want certainty, right? That's like one of the basic human emotions, certainty. That if I, it's like if I were to stand up, gravity's going to keep me from flying off the face of the earth. That's certainty. And when it comes to like getting healthy and fit, unfortunately, there is no certainty. I know that if you eat less food, if you move your body, if you sleep right, you have less stress, you are going to be well down the road to being healthy and fit. I know that. Now, what I don't know is that exact date. I can't tell you on June 10th how much you're going to weigh. I can't tell you on June 10th you're going to be a size whatever. I can't tell you on June 10th that you're going to have 6-pack abs. Like that's the certainty that I don't know. But the certainty I do know that there are certain steps, if you take them, you will be on the path to getting the results that you want. And that's what I know. And so during that rebirth, that reboot, one of the biggest things I challenge my clients is that it has to start with your mindset, right? And that mindset starts with your choices. And everything is a choice. You're either going towards your goals or you're going against your goals. And, I'm not that person who's like, here are your good foods lists and here are your bad foods lists. I want this to be a lifestyle because, there are going to be times when this is how I roll. So here's me. There are times that you're going to go to a certain place and they make a certain thing that you're like, you know what? This is the best, whatever. And I'm having it. So Wegmans. I don't go to Wegmans every week. I maybe go every 4 or 5 months. But they make the most amazing snickerdoodles. I gotta have me one. A snickerdoodle is never gonna be on the good food list. But you know what? It's something I enjoy. It's something I could have more than 3 bites of, and I could be like, yum, yum, give me some. And it's a choice. It's a choice I make. You know what? I only go to Wegmans a handful of times a year. I'm going to go and I'm going to have a snickerdoodle. And you know what? Guess what? I'm having 2 snickerdoodles. And that's what it is. It's my choice, right? Now, some people feel the choice has to be restriction. And that restriction just keeps them so bound up. That keeps them so why, when someone tells you can't do something, it's the more you want to do something. So the more I restrict, the more I put myself into this box, the more I want to escape. And when I escape, I'm going buck wild. I am going to be like, a prisoner on parole. I am just going to be running wild because I've told myself for however long I've been able to use my willpower that I can't have whatever it is that I want. So I want you to say, I own my choices. And then I also want you to say that, you own your habits and you own your patterns. And so when it comes to this reboot, it's 3 things that we're going to work on. Working on owning our choices without guilt. When I have that cookie, it's not like, oh, because I had that cookie or those 2 cookies, that means I've lost it and I might as well just, start again on Monday. No, it's me saying I had these 2 cookies. It's a Tuesday. And the next meal, I went off and I had a salad. I didn't let that one choice define the rest of my day or the rest of my week or heck, the rest of my month. It was that choice in the moment. I owned it and then I moved on. And that's where a lot of people get wrapped around the axle. That they take that, oh my God, I had those 2 cookies, so that means I might as well go to McDonald's. And then that means I might as well skip my, spin class. And that means I might as well, and then you just kind of go down this snowball. And it's all about, if you make one off step, one misstep, doesn't mean that the rest of it has to be a step. Think about if we were walking down the street and you tripped, would you be like, I tripped and lay there on the ground wallowing around and say, call 911? No, you would get up because you were embarrassed. You would give them ooh, look around, and you would continue to start walking. And that's exactly what happens when you have those 2 cookies, right? Or you have that ice cream, or you have whatever it is that you have. That's what you do. You dust yourself off and you get up and you move on. And so the same thing comes with your habits and patterns. So I have a client who, she just started with me, and she's like, I've always had cookies before I go to bed. And I was like, okay, do you think those cookies are helping you towards the goals that you told me? And she's like, no, but it's a habit. And I was like, okay, so smoking is a habit, and smoking causes cancer. So you can decide that you want to continue to smoke and risk it. And, maybe you're one of the few who don't, get cancer. Or you want to continue to have these cookies and, when you keep asking me, hey, I'm not seeing any results. Ooh, I'm going to say, well, how attached are you to these cookies, right? Now, I'm not ever saying that you can't have something, but I'm asking you to make educated choices. I'm asking you to take a look at your habits, and are your habits holding you back? Now, am I going to ever say you can't have cookies? No, but I know that if you have cookies every day, your goal is going to it's going to like leave you in the dust. And, it's like a bucket with a hole in it. It's just going to the water's just going to keep leaking out, and you're just going to be like, why can't I ever fill my bucket? Because you keep having darn cookies. So if the question I had to her is like, is this a habit? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, now the key is we need to figure out how to replace this habit, how to break this habit so that you can, get out of your own damn way. How to change the pattern of, before you go to bed, you need a sweet treat. So, we're exploring and brainstorming different options for her. I was like, do you like tea? Because there are plenty of, teas that can give you that sweet sensation. I was like, do you like fruit? Different healthier options to give her, to satisfy that habit until that habit passes. So I want you to think about those habits and patterns that you might have that aren't serving you. Because if you want to, bottom line, if you want to lose weight, if you want to get healthier, you have to eat healthier and you have to exercise, like bottom line. And I know there's so many people out there that tell you, like, if you do this particular diet, you'll never have to exercise. Or if you do this particular exercise, you'll never have to diet. Well, let me just tell you, when you combine exercise and fitness together, you'll get to your goal a lot faster than if you try to do one without the other. Jack LaLanne, he's the king of modern fitness. His motto, and it's true, fitness is king, nutrition is queen. Now, we all know the saying, if the queen's not happy, the house isn't happy. So if your nutrition isn't happy, your body's not happy. And, firsthand, when you eat something that your body doesn't like, you feel like crap. And you sleep like crap, and you just know when your body is just not getting what it needs, you're dragging around like a freaking tire, like like an albatross. Your health is like an albatross around your neck, and you're just like, you got to get out of this death spiral. So it all starts with the way you think. If you think that you have to give stuff up, then guess what? It's always going to be a slog, and I don't want it to be a slog. And that's the first thing, is that we always think, oh, I'm going on a diet, so here's the list of don'ts. What if you flipped it around and you said, what are the list of do's? And, when I look at someone's nutrition, like that's the first thing I do when you work with me, is that I look at your nutrition, and I'll tell you the two things I see always missing from people. So if you started with these two things versus all the things you want to cut, imagine you might feel a little happier. You might feel a little more accomplished, because I want you to feel accomplished. Because when, I'm a geek, and I am one of those geeks that I write down my to-do list every single day. And I love it when I get to check the box, right? Boom, boom, boom. And the more boxes I check, the more I'm like, it's awesome. I'm ecstatic. Right? And that's what I want you to do with fitness. So for me, you guys know I work out in the morning, and that's one box that I can check off in the morning. And by 8 o'clock, I'm like, you know what? The day can do whatever it wants to do to me today. I've done one thing for myself. Check the box. I win. So I want that. That's how the feeling I want for you. And it's those little box checks that like add up and like make your day and make you motivated, make you excited to want to do it again. So you get more box checks. And you know, I've told you the story. I'm going to continue to tell you the story because it is so motivating. You know, so many people tell me I don't have motivation. I say bull hockey, but you know, if we weren't on public TV, it would be a little stronger language. So Jerry Seinfeld, when he, you know, he's a comedian, and so when he first started as a comedian, he knew that in order to go to all these different open mic nights, he had to have a whole catalog of jokes. And so he challenged himself that every single day he'd write a joke every day. And so, you know, back then there was no iPhone. So he bought a calendar and a big red marker. And every day he wrote a joke, he put a giant X. Every day. And he made he made this mantra to himself, don't break the chain. And every day he put that big X. And the days that he didn't write a joke, he saw that glaring, you know, hole of where he didn't write a joke. And if it was a couple of days, you know, he had that string, but then he also started to get momentum. Like the more he did it, the more it felt comfortable, the easier it became, and the more the jokes flowed out. And then next thing you know, he had this whole, you know, catalog of jokes so that, you know, no matter where he went, he could go out and have, you know, enough jokes to, I don't know how long a comedy set is, but enough jokes for a comedy set. And he also had enough jokes to move things around so that if a joke didn't work the way he wanted it to work, he could put it, you know, in the hopper to rewrite, but he always had a library. So I took that principle for myself and I started logging my food. And every day I would log my food, and I use this app called the Today app. So I'm gonna show it to you on my phone. Heck. All right, so it's gonna be complete opposite, but I gotta show it to you. So if you see it on my phone, so what I did is actually, you know what? I'm going to show it to you up close. So, here it is. So every single day I track my food, you see a green mark. And every time that I didn't track my food, you see a white mark. And so do you see how motivating that is? That like I had a good streak going a couple weeks ago. And then I kind of fell on my sword. But it shows me the power of consistency. And as I talk to a lot of people, you know, they always are like, what is it? You know, how do I get results? How do I get results? And it's consistency. That's how you get the results, is being consistent. And this, you know, this app on my phone is really helpful for that consistency because, you know, when I see those holes in it, I'm like, you know what? I could have done better that day. You know what? And it's not in a beat the crap out of myself kind of way. It's more in a, you know, what was it about that day that I couldn't track? You know, for 2 days in a row, I couldn't track. Like, you know, what was it that happened? And then I can play CSI, because, you know, I like to play CSI. I could play CSI and say, okay, oh, you know what? I usually start in the morning doing this, and then I didn't do that. And so, like, I can just replay, and I can make better decisions. I can make better choices, right? And so my mindset isn't about, oh, I stink. My mindset is like, okay, how can I be better? How can I improve? And that's where I want you guys to start putting your mind. I want you to start thinking, how do I improve? How do I get better? How do I, you know, take myself to the next level? I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to be 4 levels up. I'm asking you to say, if you're here, how do you take it to the next step? And then once you master that step, how do you take it to the next step? Because what I see is a lot of you want to miss the middle. The middle is mushy. The middle is gross. The middle is sloggy. The middle can feel like quicksand. But it's the middle that gives you fortitude. It's the middle that shows you what you're made of. It's the middle that tests the heck out of your patience. It tests the heck out of your desire. And it tests the heck out of your gumption, your grit, whatever you want to call it. That's the good stuff, right there, the middle, the muck, when you're just kind of like going through the forest without any light, that is where you know what you're made of. So I want you to ask, like, what motivates you? Because it's taking those actions. And for me, I found this app makes me take those actions because I want to get that check mark. And no one else sees that check mark but me. And if you're not self-motivated, you have to find someone who is going to give you that external motivation until you're able to turn on that internal motivation switch. And, that's why people hire coaches. I am someone who is very internal and external accountable, right? If I know I have to show my work to somebody, I am more likely to do it. And some people they can do that on their own, but like if I know that at the end of the day I got to show you it, I'm like, oh, I got to make sure it's, I'm like, I want to make sure that I do it because I want to honor my commitments. That's one of my core values. And maybe that's one of your core values, and that's why you hire a coach. A coach, coach isn't about do this kind of thing. A coach is more about giving you that checks and balances piece that you might not have on your own. And, without any type of change, there's no success. And, a lot of times when I'm feeling like I'm in my comfort zone, I always say to myself, if there is no change, there is no change. And so what that means is if I want to make a change in my life, I have to make some other type of change. I can't sit back in my comfort. I can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect to get a different result. I can't expect to keep walking into that wall and expect that wall to magically dissolve into a door, right? And that's what a lot of people do. So I want you to, one of the things when I kind of feel like I'm stuck is like I say to myself, I have to make a change if I want to see a change. And what change would you have to make? Now this change doesn't have to be huge, right? I'm not asking you to leap a tall building in a single bound. I'm saying, what is the change? And remember I told you there's two things I always see when I look at food: protein and the vegetables. Those are the two things I always see. So can you increase your protein intake? Can you increase your vegetable intake? They both don't have to be done at the same time, but pick your battles. The second piece is movement. Now, I'm not saying go and join a boot camp class and, go out and do CrossFit. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying movement. So do you have a Fitbit? Do you have something on your phone? Can you get in at least 10,000 steps a day? Can you sleep? Can you make it a priority to set a bedtime? So those are the things I'm talking about. Can you make it a priority to not be a stress ball? Those are all contributing factors to losing weight. And at any point did I say, this is what you can eat and this is what you can eat? No. So I want you to kind of change that mindset and say, what are some of the subtle changes I could make that will have long-term impact on my life? And the big thing is find someone who will support you. It can be a coach. It could be a really good friend. It could be a spouse. It could be a partner. It could be your mom. It could be anybody. But find someone who's in your corner. Find someone who's going to support you. Find someone who's going to help hold your feet to the fire when you have one of those days, like today's a rainy day, and you could be like, oh, I don't feel like it. Have that person's going to be like, well, how many days you going to not feel like that, girl? Because you want that person to be that friend. I have that friend. We text each other. I've talked about it. Every Monday we text each other, this is what I'm doing this week. And every Wednesday we're like, what's up? So I want you to have that person in your life. And if you don't have that person in your life, hit me up. I have no problem being that person in your life. And, also look at the environment that you're in. Are you in an environment where you might be on social media and you're following all these people who don't make you feel good about yourself? Unfollow, delete, gone. What about TV? Are you watching, are you always watching, shows that don't make you feel good about yourself or make you feel that aren't aspirational, that make you just feel like my life stinks? I want you to find things that fill you up emotionally, spiritually, make you laugh. But I don't want you to look at things that make you feel like crap because, you got enough of that in your life. And, that's all part of changing that mindset. That's all part of, letting go of that control and just letting more flow, letting more of you honor where you are. Because that's where the change begins. If I honor where I am, if I, I say to myself, you know what? I'm a beginner. It is what it is. And in order to get to advance, because again, we talked about that messy middle, it's okay to be a beginner. Everyone has to begin somewhere. And I want you to find someone who you aspire to be, but do not let where they are influence where you are. I can't remember who said this, but it wasn't me. But it says success leaves clues. So what I like to be for my clients is inspirational, not aspirational. I want them to say, okay, Kim takes these steps. All right. Out of the 10 steps she takes, right now I can only do these 3 steps. And I'm going to be comfortable and confident in these 3 steps. And once I'm good at these 3 steps, then I can think about taking more steps. Like I said, I want to go back and I want to check off those boxes. I want to feel awesome about myself. And I want you to know that yes, there are going to be struggles. There are going to be setbacks. But at the end of the day, if I keep chipping away at these little small marks, I will eventually hit my goals. And it's completely possible. So it's completely possible for you to do that. So I will be back at on June 11th, and I will be talking about the 5 tips to have a fresh start for the summer. And you can find me on all the socials, Kim Jefferson Coach on Instagram and Kim Barnes Jefferson on Facebook. And if you have any questions, you could always hit me up on my email at squadleader@fabfitsquad.com. Thank you so much and have an awesome evening.